I was working at an event in West Belfast, and it was a very busy, very large event, and it was during the sustained disorder last summer, so our resources were slightly less than what they could have been at the event. And a very violent young man was lawfully ejected from the event for being violent inside by the event staff, and he came out and he was spitting, boxing, looking for a fight with somebody. Unfortunately, I was the only police officer at that point in the event, or at that position in the event, and I reached out to grab him, to pull him away from everybody else because he was going to assault somebody. And he just turned around in a split second and hit me really hard to the left cheekbone and knocked me out for a couple of seconds, and then obviously I had to terminate duty and go to hospital, get x-rays, and then I was off after that with quite bad post-concussion syndrome. Behind the uniform is a young female who also has a life outside of the police, and I think some people forget that I go to Tesco's to do my shopping like everybody else, and I have, a life outside of the police. And when you're attacking a police officer, there is somebody else behind that, just a normal human being out trying to do a good job and a decent job. So it's not just police officers you're attacking, there's somebody else behind that uniform, and I just ask you to remember that. It moved some of my teeth, so it was quite sore, and then I had quite bad post-concussion syndrome where I was forgetting things and actually really worried about my mental health. I thought there was something really wrong with me until my doctor diagnosed it. I think from a mental point of view, it feels disappointing when you're out trying to protect the community that somebody would do that to a police officer on duty, somebody in uniform. It felt really disappointing. And I think as well, coming back to work after being off for a period of time after being assaulted, I was probably quite nervous, and I made a point of going straight back out onto the ground on a beat patrol the first day I came back. But everybody I was looking at and interacting with, I was looking at their hands just to make sure that they weren't going to do something because it was so unexpected. So I think it does have probably a little bit of a psychological impact in terms of coming back to duty, but I think you just have to get back out there as soon as you can. I think my family were quite worried. Police officers generally sort of, and this is wrong to think this way, we do tend to think that comes with the job, because most of my colleagues have been assaulted at some point or another, maybe not just as seriously, but everybody has had something happen to them, and it's very difficult for family. I don't have any family in the police, so it's quite difficult for them to understand what the role entails and how easily you can get injured. So I think probably my mum was quite concerned about what had happened, and I think in the aftermath she's now always concerned that it's going to happen again.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, I come back to work every day no matter what happens, but no, I absolutely love my job. It's a vocation. It's probably one of the last vocations, I would say, in my own opinion. We take a lot of flack, and I mean, the last 10 days have just been testament to how committed police officers are to protecting communities, and I know myself and my colleagues, we all rally round and we come back to work every day because it really matters to us. So yeah, I do love my job.